Hey, good afternoon, everyone. Welcome to episode number 16, I think, of Practical EdTech Live, my occasional, somewhat weekly series in which I answer questions about all things educational technology. So if you're watching me on YouTube, hello. If you're watching me on Facebook, hello. And as you can see, I still don't have any drywall up in my new office. Still working on it. We'll get there. Anyway, let's go ahead and get started. I have a handful of questions that I've received in the last week that I think are best answered through my voice. So let's go ahead and get started here. And as always, if you're joining me live, feel free to use the chat function in either YouTube Live or Facebook Live, and I'll answer your question as we go. All right, so question number one, kind of a long one, so bear with me. Good morning. I teach at a Title I school and 100% of our kids receive free lunch. I have a friend that's willing to donate 15 tablets for my class in order to offset potential kids that don't have a tablet or phone to use. Our school generally has a lot of access, but you have to schedule it, not always available. Any suggestions on the most cost-efficient tablets to use in the classroom? Thank you. So, if you're married to the tablet idea, I'm not going to stop you from that. There are a lot of Android tablets that are available at the price point of $200 to $250 that are quite good. They may not run the most current version of the Android operating system. They might run, a few versions back, but you can certainly check those out. But if you're not married to the idea of using a tablet, my recommendation really would be to take a look at some of the convertible laptops that are out there, be that either a Chromebook or a Windows computer. You can find Chromebooks now that have a touch screen that flip all the way around. The Asus Flip is the one the Acer R11 is one that comes to mind right now. That's one that I have myself. Costs about $250 or $260. And really gives you the benefit of a full keyboard and a little bit more flexibility in terms of what you can do on the device, where you're not married to having to download an app for everything you want to do. That said, if you want to spend a little bit more, if cost effective for you is more to the $300 to $400 range, there are some Windows 10 computers out there that have touch screens with included in them now as well. So that's where I would go. You get a lot more flexibility for your money if you can break into that $300 to $400 range. But if tablets are the way you want to go, I'm not going to stop you from going for tablets either. Hey, Kaner, thanks for joining us on the Practical EdTech Facebook page. All right, question number 2. So, hey Richard, really love your videos. I've learned so much on how to use social media and technology in a more safe and efficient environment. I have a question and hope you can help. How do I add a QR code into Google Docs? Again, thanks again for all your help. Hope you can help me with this, Chris. So, I actually made a short video for Chris on how to do this. Hey Isabel, thanks for joining us. And the short version is I use a tool called Droid. You can find it at qrdroid.com. It's a free website. You can go in and you can create a QR code for any link that you find online. You can also create a QR code for contact information that you type in. Great for open house night to make a QR code that has contact information that parents can just scan and save on their phones. And it sounds like Chris wants to put that into a Google Doc. So all you have to do is once you've created the QR code is you just save it as an image, save it as a PNG file, save it as an image, and then just drag it and drop it onto your Google Doc, or use the insert menu in Google Docs and insert that QR code as an image. So that's the easiest way to put a QR code into your Google Docs. Another Google Docs question, not surprising, I get a lot of Google Docs questions. If I have a PDF document, how can I open it in Google Docs so my students can type in it? The simple solution is to check out Kami HQ, Kami KamiHQ.com. KamiHQ is a service you can use to annotate PDFs inside of your Google account. All right, getting away from Google Docs for a minute here. There's one more Google-related question coming, but this one is not Google-related necessarily. Well, I guess it kind of is now that I read it all the way through. Hey, Richard, I want to start a new blog for my 9th grade English class. Hey, Christina. I want to start a new blog for my 9th grade English class. I used to use Google Sites, but the new version doesn't let me do as much as before. What do you recommend that I try? So my recommendation, unfortunately the new version of Google Sites did take away some of the flexibility that was available in the old version. But Google Sites I don't think is really the best platform for blogging anyway. I'm not a fan of the new version of Google Sites in terms of what you can do with announcements or blogging. Just isn't very streamlined from my view. So what do I recommend? If you're already a G Suite school, so you're already using G Suite for education, I'd say spend some time taking a look at Blogger. Blogger is very simple to set up. Outside of the G Suite environment, I really like Weebly. Weebly for education lets you have 40 students, I believe it's 40 students still, inside your account for free. Great way to monitor what your students are doing. And of course, EduBlogs is a long time standard in this field as well. EduBlogs is great because, again, you can manage student accounts. Differences between the three of them are often found in the layout features. Weebly is more geared towards website creation than it is blog creation, but can certainly be used for that. But those are my 3 recommendations. And just as a reminder, you can put in any questions you would like here in either of the live streams, and I'm happy to answer them. Oh, Isabel said, what about WordPress for... So you can use WordPress.com. Isabel suggested WordPress for blogging. Yeah, you could use WordPress.com. WordPress.com, if you're using it with students, isn't going to give you the same level of control that you would have with EduBlogs or Weebly for education, or even in Blogger. And by control, I mean access to what your students are doing in terms of resetting student usernames or passwords. You're not going to have that kind of control in WordPress.com. But EduBlogs, by the way, does run on the WordPress software, WordPress.org, open source software. All right, where was I? I forget now. That's a good question, though, Isabel. Thank you for throwing that in there. Where was I? Oh, greetings. Just curious, how do you organize your Google Drive? In the past, my students have told me and this is in quotation marks in the email that I got, that they can't find things in their Google Drive. Is there a foolproof way to have them organize their Google Drives? Yeah, so that's a great question, and I love the can't find things. It was in quotation marks. So it sounds to me like sometimes students are blaming the fact that they didn't turn in their work and didn't get something done because they couldn't find it when really they maybe didn't do it. But anyway, and I've had kids say similar things to, fortunately now, with Google Classroom, there's a bit more automatic organization added into a student and a teacher's Google Drive. The other thing that I do is I, in the past, have made folders for every class that I teach, and I've had students, and again, middle school and high school level, I've had my students make a folder for every class that they're in during that semester, and then tell them, put your work for Mr. Byrne in the folder that's labeled Mr. Byrne's class. That's the way that I've gone about it. Is it foolproof? No, because it still relies on students putting things in the folder, but it's better than just having them do a hodgepodge of random folders, or random files, I should say. All right. Any other questions up here in the YouTube stream? Let's see. Nope. Okay. Good. All right. Last question I have in advance here, and I will admit that I saved this one for last myself. Hey there, Richard. I'd love to be able to come to one of your workshops. Great. I would love to have you come. I teach primary in South Australia. Do you ever come to this part of the world? I have. I don't have plans to at the moment to be back in Australia anytime soon that I'm aware of. But I would love to come back. So if there is someone who, well, if you'd like me to come to your school, I'd be happy to. I don't have any current plans to offer anything on my own though in Australia. Most of what I do with schools is at a school as opposed to organizing my own events. I do organize some of my own events in the summer here in the U.S., but I don't do them outside of I don't organize my own outside of the U.S. But I have been in Australia in the past. I was there in March 2015, and it was a great trip. It was a short trip. I wish I'd been able to stay longer, but it was a great trip. So anyway, and that wraps it up. All right. So, as always, if you have any questions at all for me, please feel free to send them to me at richardbyrne@freetechforteachers.com or richard@byrne.media. I'll be happy to answer them, or you can send it to me on Twitter or Facebook or anywhere else that you can find me on the internet. I'll be happy to try to answer your questions and include them in the next episode of Practical EdTech Live. Maybe the next episode I'll have some drywall up behind. Who knows? All right. Thanks, everyone. Have a great afternoon. Oh, I did forget one other thing. Coming up at 4 o'clock, I do have a free webinar happening all about storyboards. So if you want to check that out, go to the Free Tech for Teachers page. Thanks, Isabel. Go to the Free Tech for Teachers page on Facebook, and you can find the link to sign up for my free webinar happening at 4 o'clock. So, all right. Thanks, everyone. Have a great afternoon, and enjoy your weekend. It's coming up soon. Thanks.